Not that we're afraid of first past the post. The Green Party has shown that we can win under the current system in local elections, and we aim to buck the system at the next general election to get our first MPs. But it cannot be right that unless you happen to live in a marginal seat, your vote doesn't count. And it cannot be right that the current government has 100% of the power on just 36% of the vote. So let's be very clear. If we're to have any hope of reconnecting Westminster to the wider public, if we're to have the remotest chance of rebuilding trust between the people and the politicians who are meant to represent them, then we have to have a fair electoral system where everybody's vote counts the same. The economy, political reform, public services. If these were not responsibilities enough, we are also the only party who's being honest with the public about the greatest threat that we face, climate change. The evidence is mounting all around us. Rising sea levels, melting glaciers, tropical storms and floods. And according to the UN, over 300,000 people are already dying now every year as a direct result. But as the vital Copenhagen Climate Summit draws nearer, it's clear that the current level of ambition simply won't deliver anything like the speed and scale of the emission cuts that we so urgently need to see, nor indeed the financial resources to enable poorer countries to play their part too. And so that's why our message to government is this, that we demand an end to airport expansion and to plans for a fleet of new coal-fired power stations. We demand massive investment in energy efficiency, renewable energies, public transport, green jobs. And we demand that when the government signs up to new emission targets, that they're honest about it, that they undertake to make domestic cuts here at home, not try to outsource it or offset it in poorer countries. Grassroots mobilisations like Climate Camp and the 1010 campaign launched this week are vitally important. But commitment and engagement amongst civil society must be matched with real political leadership. In a few years' time, people are going to look back, bewildered and angry, that knowing what they know now, none of the other main political parties in Britain confronted the most critical issue of our time. They've pretended that they have the problem under control. They've said that just a few low-energy light bulbs here, a bit of lagging on your loft there, and the problem's solved. And that to do anything more is either unnecessary or involves too much sacrifice. Well, we've got news for them. A transition to a post-carbon world doesn't have to be about sacrifice. It's about jobs, it's about a more equal society, and it's about a way of life with the potential to be far more fulfilling than the turbocharged consumerism which is being peddled by the other politicians today. And that's why we say that our government's inaction is nothing less than a political crime. In 8 months' time, we'll be fighting the most critical general election for a generation. Not only critical for us as a party, but for the direction this country takes as a whole over the coming decade and beyond. Are we going to continue down the road of growing inequality and cynicism as we drift towards an environmental catastrophe? Or can we as a country begin the task of returning to a politics built on fairness, starting with an economy for the many, not for the few, where healthcare is free, not when you're charged a tenner for the privilege of seeing your GP, as one Tory MEP recently suggested, where the response to a recession is about investment in training and education, rather than churning out more candidates for McJobs. An economy that uses taxes to benefit us all, not just reckless bankers and greedy banks. Now is not the time to retreat into the same old arguments by the same old parties. It's time for bold policies from a bold Green Party, the only party in British politics that believes that we can and must change our course. At the next election, we'll show not only that we hold true to our values, but that more and more people in this country are joining us. And so as well as winning our first seats in Parliament, as if that wasn't challenge enough, we must reach out to more members, more supporters, and more voters than ever before. And we must speak out across every aspect of politics and show that green values speak to every issue this country faces, from drugs and prison reform to social services and pensions. These are formidable challenges ahead, but we are up to the task. We've proved we can attract large numbers of new members. We've proved we can build support. We've proved we can win elections. And I know how hard we're all going to work over the next 8 months. But we can take strength from knowing that fairness is worth fighting for, that together we can overcome the barriers put in our way and change politics and people's lives for the better. We need a politics of bold government, not of incremental adjustment. We need a politics that's about setting the agenda, not feebly following the focus groups. We need a politics that really connects with people's real hopes and real concerns. We need a politics with passion. Friends, green politics is that politics, and the Green Party is its home. Thank you.